emails back and forth, holidays, some little, knee issues have kept us kind of apart from one another. We've got Gorham's Law, we have Starkey's Law. Thank you, as Darrell pointed out, the original copy of the Gorham Law that I took off the Gorham website was missing a few components of its law. Joe DeGeorge was able to get a clean copy. I called Mr. Lightfoot, the supervisor, and he was going to get it to me back Christmas time. And I don't know, maybe he took a long holiday and forgot, but I appreciate you getting us a clean copy of their matter. In addition to that, I've had some discussions with Dr. Fonestock of East Vet and with a few local kennel owners. Trying to get some feedback from multiple areas. I think at this point we're still trying to find what language is the one that's best suited. I think we're in general agreement on the concepts. It's a matter of getting the details worked out and finding one that we are comfortable with. I would note Bonnie and Joe were both strong proponents of this. And I noticed we had some other folks that were interested in commenting. So if somebody does have any comment to the board regarding our work on this kennel law, I'd be glad to take it at this time. I'd recognize Bonnie first if she's so inclined, our local Humane Society director.
Certainly, yeah, I'd be happy to speak on this. The Gorham Law, states that they're open to 20 breeding females. In the Humane Society, would like to see that number much, much lower, based on the needs of the animals that we know from our experience, from what we've seen from other areas, and a lot of personal feelings about the whole topic, but I do believe that 20, which is the number which is in many of the Gorham Law, and I'm not sure that Starkey has come up with.
I took a look at the Starkey. They didn't think too well when they were putting their information together, in my opinion. Gorham, they really dug into this, and I think that they did some very smart things when it came to trying to do the right thing, so nobody gets hurt. I'm sorry.
No.
We're kind of like a tag team.
Mm-hmm.
So, we were talking about the numbers of animals and before the meeting started. Knowing what the shelter does in terms of providing manpower for the care of the animals. What we're seeing with, say, 20 breeding dogs, then you're talking about multiplying that times 2 litters a year.
20 pups.
And that's a lot of animals to be able to take care of with only a few people. Because we know with over 40 volunteers and 6 staff members, it's a demanding job on a day-to-day basis, just doing that in terms of the wealth and care of those animals. And there's cats there. Cats are the easy ones to take care of. Okay, it's the dogs that really create a lot of the issues that you have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. So we're talking about multiplying the issue here. But when you look at the statute that Gorham has put together, they have pretty much nailed everything in what they've proposed and they're doing. I've talked to some of the board members over there, talked to the zoning officer. The only comment that they made where they think, at least this is going, now that it's been put into effect, the only mistake they think that they made was the number of animals that they're allowing on the property. The other thing that impressed me, because I asked them about it, because I've had discussions with some other people about the existing kennels and the existing, mills that are out there. And one comment that one of the board members made to me was, we made mistakes in the past, this is going to correct them. Those mistakes were not done intentionally. He said, but by correcting and making everybody uniform was the reason of why they put those adjustments into their provisions. Because I know a lot of times people turn around and say, well, they've already been approved in the past. Well, it's like anything else. If I make a mistake with my wife, I better figure out a way to correct it. And it's the same thing. Yeah. And it's the same thing. I mean, a lot of times when things are done in the past without any firm direction like what this could get, you know, we have to kind of scope and look what's happened in the past and try to make things uniform. So that's why, because I dug into that with them of why they did that. Because they had mistakes in the past and they needed to have everything uniform. Bonnie has experienced some of the horrors of what happens out there. If you could explain to them a couple of things that
Yeah,
have happened.
well, absolutely. I'm hoping that you folks on your subcommittee are doing some research. I'm not sure, you know, when these facilities are approved, what happens after that. So that's, I'm here to learn, essentially about that. But, you know, when we're talking about numbers of dogs, you have to think about the condition impaired, and I think that Warren did address a lot of that in their guidelines, and as we all know, the USDA guidelines are very, very lax in regards to the care of the animals in the facility. So I just would ask the subcommittee to really research, you know, what we're allowing into our area. Is this what we want to stand for, first of all? And second of all, you know, to think about the impact that's having, you know, not only on the animals, but on our environment, on the shelters, on everything as a whole. It's not a kind environment, I guess would be the best way to put that, and I just would hope that everyone would take some considerations. That's all I really have to say.
I'll say a couple more things, and I'm sorry to
Make
hold
quick.
up everybody. I'll make it quick. Bonnie shared with me one other time where a few years ago, she was called into a situation, and she went into a barn, and there were, how many dogs? 40 dogs in cages that they either were going to euthanize or try to save. And I got to commend Bonnie. I mean, it took the effort of a lot of people, but they were able to save most of those animals, and it took them almost 6 months. 6 months of resources for the shelter in order to try to do the right thing. Those are not uncommon things in our community. Even the ones that still have permits, there's still things that happen that the shelter has to bear. I mean, honestly, this would be the minimum that would be needed. If we could not have any mills in our community, I would be a happy camper, only because I see what happens. But if we need to have something, this is a real good start. Going law is a real good start.
As far as the research money, you know, for a long time, you know what my job was for many years. There was great as well. All of the guys, the law enforcement, which is 3 or 5 here, have seen abused animals of various kinds before. Sometimes extreme numbers. I'm sure Daryl was at the ones down in Italy Valley, the ones on Italy Hill, the one down in Dundee. So we are aware of extremes in, you know, animal lack of care or problems. And as far as some of the local shelters I've spoken with, reached out to some of them. I actually was at one that's going to be closing actually on Coach Road. It was in business for about 18 years. That was going to close
It's
up.
a kennel,
Yes, I've been to that
not a
kennel.
shelter.
I've been to that kennel and seen their operation. So I've seen some of the existing ones. I've seen ones that were operating in other areas and in our community that were not so good. So I think got an idea of what the difficulty can be without supervision or care.
Joe, just to confirm, you talked with
Somebody,
somebody.
Gordy, you didn't talk to Gordy. I'm bad with names. What's your name? No.
But you said, whoever it was that you talked with said that they were sorry that they passed it with 20,
Yes.
they wish it was less.
Yes.
Okay, I just part of the reason why I think the law is great, is we've been coming in the seat of our pants. But, we've typically only allowed, in the two that I'm familiar with the last few years, either 3 or 5 breeding females. And then make sure that the facility is equipped to deal with that many plus the offspring. The one thing I didn't see in the Gorham law that I think it passed along to you is the conditions related to what they do with breeding females
Aftercare.
after their breeding life is done. We don't want them to become disposable.
One of the.
So they have to provide provisions for the care of the breeding females after that point. But, you know, it's really important to get this input, because limiting the number of breeding females is, I mean, that's a big deal. But the other thing is to make sure that the facilities are really well set up. And what we've been doing, and I know Zach has done some of it as well, is independent of what the USDA does, or we go in on a random basis. Different members of the planning board will stop in, see how things are going, make sure everything is still like they said it was going to be. I don't know if the zoning board does the same thing, but I've been up to the one on Adams Road a couple of times, just to make sure everything is really cool, and the dogs are all well cared
What was your
for and
opinion?
happy. They were compliant with what we had required, but that was one that was very small. I think we initially limited it to 3 breeding females, and I think they got a permission to add 2 more, but that was, you know, the 5 was at the high end. But I checked the vet records, make sure that the vet records are all up to date, as well as whatever other inspections they have, and just talk to the owners and the people that are providing care, because these are Mennonite run, and it's the, you know, mother and the father and the kids taking care of the dogs, and you know, just making sure that the place is just as clean.
I mean, if it can be limited to 3 to 5 animals, I'm talking about breeding, you know, because we're now trying to, I mean, these are companion animals, they're not livestock.
Yeah.
I mean, the Mennonites consider dogs, whatever, livestock. I mean, it's part of it. They're looking at it as more as a revenue source. And where we want our puppy to be next to us, they don't necessarily have the same thought process. And it's nothing wrong with that, it's just that's the way they're brought up, and that's part of their, you know, thinking.
Along the lines of what Tim was talking about, one of those gentlemen that's a recent breeder approval that I spoke with said that he has plans for rehoming, he calls it, the dogs after about 6 years, which he considers, you know, not breeding them after that. And he actually said that they had a network or plan where some of the places that would, the shops and things that would normally just take puppies, through word of mouth and other things, they would try and take the breeding females, and then someone might have 4 or 5 years of life as a pet after the breeding. So that was the comment of one of the recent approvals that they were trying to do. Here we got a comment, so I had a chance to comment.
Actually, I went to the Starkey meeting, and what I learned was that there was a Purdue study that said that most breeding females are not able to be taken out of the cages and brought into families, so they euthanize them, and that is the study that they, Dr. Fonestock and I think the other vet that was there, but she brought it up as well, and they pretty much said that not all of them can be saved, that after 5 years of breeding in a cage, they're psychologically unsound, and that's what the Purdue study that they're quoting said. I was at that meeting, and actually it's recorded, and it's posted on YouTube if you're interested in hearing what they had to say.
I actually spoke to Dr. Fonestock for everything, emails back and forth with. I know.
I recorded him. It's all, everything he had to say is you can access it.
I think I checked the wrong box and didn't want to comment, and I do want to comment.
Okay.
I'm Molly Ross, I'm a resident here, I've lived here for over 15 years, grew up as a kid, moved away. I've had first-hand experience with puppy mill dogs. Several years ago, walking as I locked myself out of my home, I came upon and emaciated them for a coon hound. She had no fur, she had teeth as long as her toenails, she did wire cage dance, we dumped a huge amount of money into her. She turned out to be a wonderful, wonderful dog, but could not be a house dog. She knew not how to go in the yard, did not know how to go upstairs. She would stand and do the wire cage dance. She was very aggressive to any male that came into our yard with a ball cap or a hat. She was fine with our family. I can't even tell you how much money. We took her to 3 different vets, and the bottom line was I had her spayed. She became incontinent, and we had to put her down the following spring because we couldn't bring her in the house because the only way she kept fur was for me to feed her with venison and rice, which someone graciously gave me 2 coolers of old meat. That was the only time the dog had any hair. Prior to that, I actually went to a Mennonite farm looking at puppies on my husband's way back, 50th birthday party to get him out of our house. And I went to a local Mennonite, and they had 2 standard poodles in pens and a female lab. And because I had familiar background with Cornell and worked for Cornell for many years and that, I'm a little bit more savvy than maybe most people. So these puppies were there. The mother was lovely. The Mennonite young woman came out, and she wanted, I'll say, $150 for the pups, or $175. And I said, I don't know, we're going to think about it. Make story short, she was willing to give me 2 puppies for the price of 1. She said, if you don't take these, we're going to have to get rid of them. And that meant taking them out, shooting them, and dumping them in a pit. Well, it ended up, I made some connections with people and called. And the puppies had inverted eyelids, some were blind, some had to be destroyed. They went to Cornell. And this is the type of thing we're up against with our Mennonite breeders. I hate the thought. I've been in other ones in different places within New York State, and I discovered the same thing in all these places. I've not seen a clean kennel. When you can, I don't know what my new neighbor has for his kennels. I haven't been there. I have 2 neighbors that I know right now have kennels that I don't think anyone's even aware of.
Oh, there's a lot of them around.
Yep, and, the only time you know that they're breeding dogs is when you see the bitch, and she's got teeth on her in the yard, and then all of a sudden the little puppies show up. I have a real problem with this whole puppy mill situation, and it's grossly, unfortunately, it's supply and demand. And until we can get people to stop buying dogs through these puppy or animal stores in our malls and that, because they don't know what they're getting, and buy, go to our humane shelters. Some states have made laws now that you have to put puppy mill animals in our shelter, or in our pet stores. You cannot put puppies from puppy mills. And I get very upset about this because I've seen it firsthand, and I don't think most residents in our county have any idea what happens in these. And it's all the premise that because our Mennonite community is religious-based, that they're devoid of any wrongdoings. And that is such a misconception, because they're just like everyone else. They have those that are pompous, and those that are down to earth, and those that are great neighbors. I know for a fact there were Mennonites who ran good friends of mine off their land and ran pig lines because they wanted the land. So, if they can do that to a neighbor that has been peaceful and it's been in their family for a long time, I just can't imagine what they do to their animals other than what I've seen firsthand. And I just think it's shocking and appalling.